And hello, DC fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Zone TV Entertainment with me, your host Jonathan. Once again, bringing you my thoughts and review for the brand new DC Studios Lanterns, or sorry, DC Studios HBO Max series Lanterns, Season 1, Episode 1. Yes, I got the Green Lantern ring on because DC has finally, and I say finally, given us a Green Lantern. Yes, I know, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. Green Lanterns already exists. I get it. But I'm talking about the Green Lantern us kids grew up with. Hal Jordan, John Stewart, the one I grew up with, obviously. And, we finally get to see John Stewart, Green Lantern, in a live-action setting inside the DC universe. And it's pretty interesting. So, this show does star Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, and of course, Aaron Pierce, probably butcher, I apologize, as our John Stewart, who I grew up watching on the Justice League cartoon. John Stewart is a U.S. Marine who gets turned into a Green Lantern and ends up joining the Justice League down the road. So, in this particular show, it literally just starts off with Kyle Chandler's Hal Jordan. He's famous. Everybody knows the Green Lantern Corps. Everybody knows who he is. He's famous. But now it's time for him to kind of, take on a rookie, if you will. Make sure he's ready to get one of these rings so that way he can be the next protector of Earth and the sector that he protects throughout the galaxy as well. Now, if you don't know what the Green Lantern Corps is, the Green Lantern Corps are basically space cops that, protect the galaxy from all kinds of threats. Aliens, invasions, asteroids coming to destroy planets. If they have to defend it, they will. They have these rings called, the power rings. They have batteries that charge it. And they do have an oath. In blackest day and brightest night, let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. So, and with the ring, whatever they think of, they can conjure weapons, anything out of thin air, and the ring would do it. And that's exactly what we get to see in this show. We see Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan. He's, like I said before, he's famous. He's celebrity. Everybody knows about the Green Lanterns. Everybody knows he's like the first superhero. So kind of like how Captain America and Marvel, where everybody knew who he was when he first became a hero. Same thing here. You have Hal Jordan shows up on Earth, says he's a superhero, says he's a protector of the galaxy and all that stuff, and everybody treats him like a hero. And now he's training his new pupil. He's training John Stewart to become the next Green Lantern and also take over his sector. So this is pretty interesting. We also get to see the fact that there's an incident that happens in Nebraska. So the two of them literally go to investigate this problem. Hal Jordan thinks as aliens are involved. The local police think that it's just a regular crime. We don't need your space credentials here. Your jurisdiction doesn't need to be, dealing with this. But Hal Jordan thinks like, listen, we got aliens here, and if aliens are involved, you gotta call me. I gotta deal with it. Why? Because that's a sector. So, yeah, there you go. So, what did I thought about this first episode? Honestly, I liked it a lot. First of all, I think Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierce did a fantastic job of playing off each other, and their chemistry was literally through the roof. There's some scenes in here where you see Kyle Chandler just trying to teach John Stewart's, Aaron Pierce's John Stewart how to deal with certain situations and how he has to you have to make sure the ring picks you. It's not like, I can just be like, oh yeah, here's the ring. No, the ring's gonna have to choose you if you're worthy of it. If you've seen the trailer, there's a scene where he's literally puts it on the dashboard and he jumps out of the car, and then you got to figure out how does John Stewart get out of that situation. So you get to see some pretty interesting banter between the two of them. Do they like each other? Do they not like each other? It's kind of one of those situations, kind of a, rookie cop and an expert cop dealing with the thing. Kind of like if you watch Lethal Weapon, Riggs was the top cop, and then he meets not Riggs. Murtaugh is the big cop, and then Reed is the new cop. He shows up and kind of like the hotshot guy, and then they kind of bump heads with each other a little bit, and then eventually they end up being friends, but they do share the respect for each other. So that's the good thing. That's the good thing right off the bat, that, Jon Stewart already respects him. He may do things kind of fishy, kind of questionable, but he does respect him in what he does, and he wants to learn how to become like him or even better than him. And obviously, if you've seen the comics and of course the cartoon, we all know Jon Stewart. In my opinion, I think he's the strongest Green Lantern. I mean, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I think he's the strongest. He's done a lot in the Green Lantern's, uniform, doing things with the Justice League, hooking up with Hawkgirl. Spoiler, that's gonna happen eventually. And in the future they have a son named Warhawk. He hooks up with Vixen during, down the road as well. So, Jon Stewart, he's the man. He's awesome. So like I said, in the first episode, we literally just see the two of them going to investigate a small town murder, and the two of them literally find the suspect really, really quick. And then there's a scene in here that's an interrogation scene, not like dark level Joker Batman interrogation scene. No, maybe top 10. Around it. This was like the funniest interrogation scene I've ever seen, because you see how Jordan, how passionate he is about his job. He may act kind of a bumbling idiot some time to time. He drinks, he does his thing, but when it comes to doing his job, he actually is serious. He may act like he's kind of a foolish person, but you know what? He does his job pretty well. And the interrogation, when they find this suspect, I won't give it away, but the questions he asks him just to prove that he's not an alien kind of foreshadows of what we get in real life, illegal aliens kind of a thing, where the people will get asked random questions that may not, think that they're aliens or not, but it totally worked here, and I thought it was the funniest part of the whole thing. There's also the sheriff cop who kind of knows Hal Jordan, but she's not like very impressed with him. She understands that, yeah, he's just today's celebrity, But then when she starts realizing, oh wow, his antics and the way he talks is like, wow, he actually does make sense, because when the proof starts happening in front of her, she's just like, you know what, I'm gonna accept it. So I thought that stuff was really, really cool. There was some stuff in here that I didn't like. I do feel like I wish they would explain a little bit more about the whole choosing. I mean, I guarantee they're going to do it later on in the series, but, in this first season, give us an explanation of why Jon Stewart was chosen. Why wasn't it just the ring just, float to him and boop, pop him in the head, and then the ring goes into his head? Because normally, and I'm pretty sure this happens in the comics, a Lantern gets killed or, can't do his job anymore. He looks at the ring and just be like, go find somebody who's worthy of your power. And the ring will just fly to that person, pop him in the head, or land in his hand or her hand or whatever, and they put it on and the power's activated. So I'm not sure like how they're gonna do it with that, but I kind of I hope we do get an explanation of like why is Hal like convinced that he's gonna take his ring and give it to Jon Stewart. Why doesn't Jon Stewart just get his own ring, Every Guardian usually has their own ring, unless they, like I said, they die, the ring flights away, unless the person about to die says, go find a person who's worthy, and then the ring just takes off and finds somebody worthy of having the ring. Just like how Hal got his power when one of the Lanterns died, and he found the spaceship, and then it just attached to him, and he became Hal Jordan's Green Lantern. So I'm very interested about seeing how that's going to turn out and hopefully plays out. And obviously we didn't see Sinestro or any of the Lantern Corps members or even the Guardians. They didn't mention them a lot, so that's interesting. So yeah, for a first episode, it did a really good job of just setting up the two main characters and their dynamic, because once we start getting comfortable with Jon Stewart as our Green Lantern, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be the Justice League Green Lantern, or something's going to happen to Kyle, Guy Gardner eventually, Nathan Fillion, maybe he dies in the show, I don't know, maybe he dies in Man of Tomorrow, I don't know, but Jon Stewart's eventually going to end up joining the Justice League. And the Justice League is going to be formed with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern. They're all going to end up forming the Justice League eventually. We're just going to have to wait. But, you know, hopefully we get to love his character and see him portray this character really, really well. So far, so good. So I really, like I said, I love the chemistry between him and Kyle. They were great. So hopefully, you know, we get to see John Stewart become his own person and his own character moving forward, not just following another person's, you know, shadow in a way. So but yeah, I'm excited to see what the rest of the season is going to give us. I will be doing a review for each episode. So yeah, it was like an hour-long episode, so that's a good thing. And it's weekly, which is great because you want people to talk about this show. So hopefully that enough people watch it and like, maybe it's not for you. Maybe you're just like, I don't know about it. There are some moments it's a little slow and, you know, it really does have that true noir detective vibe to it. But obviously, once it picks up steam and once we get to the real mystery, because something does happen at the end of the episode, that's like, okay, this is going to set up something really big in the DC universe, and it's going to change the course of the DC universe forever, knowing that this ending happened. And I'm not going to give any details. I will talk about the ending next week's episode because I don't want to spoil it. It literally just dropped yesterday. And I want you guys to watch it and judge it for yourself. If you guys don't like it, that's cool. You don't have to like it. But I thought it was a good start. So hopefully it can stay strong and move forward. And, you know, continue being strong. And hopefully get more seasons. That way, eventually, we can talk about the yellow lantern rings. The indigo. The white lantern rings. The black lantern rings. The red lantern color. You know, all the other, you know, colors of the spectrum of the Lantern Corps. Because there are multiple rings. So, let's just see how this first season goes. And we can go from there. So, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about DC's Lanterns. Are you guys excited for the new show? Are you a John Stewart fan? You know, Hal Jordan fan? None of the above. You're more of a Jessica Cruz is another Lantern Corps. Kilowog, you think Kilowog will show up in the show? You're more of a bad guy. You like Sinestro and the Yellow Lantern Corps. Which is your favorite lantern color? Whatever it is, leave me a comment below. Let me know. Stay tuned for more. Thank you very much, and have a good day.